Hi, Paul. Thanks for taking a little time to chat with TheDeal. I appreciate it. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the trends we're seeing in activism. One of the trends that I've written about that I find kind of interesting is activists working as teams. This is where the activist, one activist partners with another activist and works together to, if they file a securities filing together, they share the costs of the proxy fight, if there is a proxy fight, legal fees, if there's a lawsuit. And I know that you had an interesting example where you've worked with another activist investor that you brought in at a company that you were trying to press to make changes. I was wondering if you could talk a little about that partnership and how it went for you and whether you would do it again.
Sure, I think you're probably referring to Miller Energy Resources. Right. And in that particular campaign, Jeffrey Eberwein of Lone Star was involved. I think the campaign went very well. I think having Jeff and another activist involved was a positive. I think Jeff was thoughtful. He had a tremendous pedigree in the energy space. He had a background. He understood the company, understood doing the diligence, understood the financial metrics, and he also understood activism and corporate governance. So it was a very positive experience.
And would you do it again? Would you work with an activist, perhaps Jeff Eberwein again, or another activist in the partnership? And can you talk a little about, did you share some of the cost of the activism? What did you bring to the campaign?
Sure. So would I work with another activist again? The answer is yes. Okay. Whether that be Jeff and Lone Star or others, the answer is yes. In that particular campaign, and like every campaign, each and every element of the campaign could be differentiated from another, both from sharing expenses and/or analytics and/or strategy. So in that particular campaign, Jeff was a value add as to strategy, as to analytics, as to thoughtfulness and sincerity. And so it was a very positive experience.
And another trend I'm seeing is activists hiring investment banks to advise them on companies they're targeting. We've seen already for over a decade, companies targeted by activists hiring investment banks to advise them and provide strategic white paper analysis. But now we're seeing this new trend of activists also hiring investment banks. And I was wondering if you could talk a little about, my understanding is that you feel like it's a difficult space for activists to find investment banks that want to partner with, assist them or advise them. And is it something that you would consider doing in an activist campaign going forward?
So the answer is yes to hiring, and we embrace the concept, we embrace the trend. Yeah. We feel that having investment banks, whether they be bulge bracket or regionals, involved in the process benefits shareholders and all stakeholders. We also recognize that historically speaking, banks have been hesitant to jump into activist campaigns, certainly for the activists. From the company perspective, many will support the companies and or their viewpoints, but less supportive historically speaking for the activist side. But that's changing, it's changing quickly. And so we would employ investment banks, and we have discussed with investment banks in various campaigns that engagement.
So you'd hope more boutique investment banks will get into this space of advising activists and in their campaigns that would help drive the activist agenda forward?
Without a doubt. And we recognize in the large campaigns the investment banks have come forward and been part of those campaigns publicly, so to speak. Right. And in the smaller campaigns, we recognize that the banks have been less hesitant necessarily to come forward and kind of show their wares, but that's changing.
This is Paul Kessler. He's at Bristol Capital Advisors, and I appreciate you taking the time. This is Ron Orel with The Daily Deal.
Thank you very much.